So this morning's video is actually a repost of one I did the other day. I tried to edit that video in the YouTube software that is built into YouTube itself, and it turned out to be a hot mess. Everything got completely screwed up, so the best thing to do was pull that video and repost it this morning. And the entire reason I'm doing this is because recently some of you have reached out to the channel asking me what is a good beginner's PvP build, what am I doing to get ready for Season 11, regardless of when that actually starts. So this morning I wanted to share with you a few things I'm working on between now and when Season 11 begins, and most importantly, answer some of the questions you've sent the channel. What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and like many of you out there, I'm primarily a PvE player in this game. However, because they are introducing some of the raid exclusive items into the Dark Zone, I am definitely going to be jumping into some PvP very soon. Now, the point of today's video is to give you my thoughts on what you're probably going to see week 1 when this goes live, and to also pass along a few recommendations on things I'm doing as a PvE player to get ready for Season 11. Now, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, and we are having a giveaway for a PlayStation 5, but I will get into those details at the end of the video. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, and this stems from the fact that recently a lot of you have reached out to the channel asking me to put together a beginner's PvP build. Now, I actually answered this via Twitter the other day, and I said, some of you have reached out to the channel asking me to make a Division game beginner's Dark Zone / PvP build. I'm here to tell you I'm not the one to go to for that. There happen to be much better creators out there that can guide you with that aspect of the game, and you know at this channel, when it comes to farming and news and PvE, I've totally got you covered, but when it comes to PvP, I really haven't played it enough to feel confident in giving you even a beginner's build at this point, because I don't want to misguide you in any way. As I said, there are so many different people out there who specialize in this realm of the game, and you should have no problem whatsoever jumping onto YouTube, typing in Division 2 PvP builds, and finding something that you can put together. I know that's exactly what I'm going to do, and trust me, once I find something that works for me, I will definitely share it with you as well. And as we move on to a few recommendations that I'd like to pass along for PvE players getting used to the Dark Zone, if you have any builds that you want to share, please leave them in the comments section down below, as the main goal is to try to help out as many people as we can. Next, we're going to talk about what I think the first few weeks are going to be like for PvE players in the Dark Zone when you're trying to get these raid exclusives, and I'm telling you right now, it is going to completely be the Wild West. Your stuff is going to get stolen. It's going to happen. Be ready for it. I mean, I've heard from so many different players who have reached out directly and said, I'm gunning for you. The second I see you pop the Flare Greybeard, I'm after you 100%. And I love that, because that's what the Dark Zone is about. My job is to get better, and that happens to be something I'm really looking forward to. Now, one concern I know a lot of you have is the level of toxicity that can be in the Dark Zone. Now, for me, and maybe this has just been my luck so far, I really haven't run into it that often, but I also don't think I play enough to actually run into it, if that makes sense, and we'll see what happens over the next month. But for me, when I'm playing this game, if I happen to run into a bunch of rogue agents, they're following me around, keep taking me out, I'm just going to move to a different Dark Zone. That's it. And there's always going to be a level of smack talk in this game. That's fine. But if you run into anyone who is hurtful or hateful in any way, make sure you take a moment to report them, because that should not be happening in the game at all whatsoever. I know it's something the game takes seriously, and you know, sometimes they actually do something, sometimes they don't, but it can't hurt to actually report the person. Now, that brings me to another topic, which is another concern I know a lot of you out there have, and that is cheating and glitching in the Dark Zone. Now, from what I've heard, it typically happens more on PC. I really play on Xbox. I haven't really seen it that often, but if you have, please let me know. And once again, make sure you take a moment and report them. And I'm not talking about reporting people that you think are cheating. I'm talking about reporting the ones who obviously are. So let's say if there's someone who's shooting you through 3 buildings, that is someone you definitely want to report. But do not be the person that reports someone just because you got your ass whooped. I hear from a lot of PvP players that say someone reported them, they weren't doing anything wrong, and they wind up getting banned for a few days or a week, whatever it is, I don't know. But the point is, don't report someone unless it's actual cheating. cheating, and ideally, if you can get footage, that's great, and you want to send that over to support as well. And total side note, I just realized this gamer tag right here, Tell Mom Hi, that's hilarious. Like, well done, well done. Anyway, so moving on to things I'm going to work on between now and when Season 11 begins. And in my opinion, and obviously this is for PvE players who are not familiar with the Dark Zones as yet, you want to get yourself in there and learn the different layouts. You want to know where the different landmarks are. You want to learn where the different extraction points are as well. Because as most of you know by now, there are so many things in this game that require a level of sense memory, especially in the Dark Zone. So if you have someone right on your ass, you want to know exactly where you're going and exactly how to get there. Last but not least today, I'd like to talk to those of you who really wish that the game would introduce the Ravenous and the Eagle Bearer into the general loot pool, even if it was in legendary difficulty like the Bighorn is right now. But in my opinion, I really like that they are still making it a challenge, because it is still going to be a challenge. And I understand where people are coming from. The weapon has been out for the longest time, and the game is trying to ensure that it's not a cakewalk in order to get one of these weapons. And some of you may be lucky. Some of you may be able to roll into the DZ your first time, and Eagle Bearer drops, you grab it, you're able to extract with no problem. But one of the other things I've heard from a lot of players is, even though they don't like the idea of it being pulled from the raid, the fact is some players have raided like 20, 30, 40, 50 times. They have not gotten these weapons to drop, so they are glad that there's finally another way to try to pick them up. One example I like to use is from the first game, because there was a Dark Zone exclusive LMG called the Big Alejandro, and that is a weapon I wanted more than anything. And I wasn't the biggest fan of going into the Dark Zone, but I was like, you know what? I don't have any choice. I want this weapon. Here we go. And it took me a good 2-3 weeks to finally get the weapon. And I'd play a few hours here, a few hours there. But when that weapon finally dropped and I had my head on a swivel trying to extract with it, and I did, it was definitely worth my time. It was something that I really enjoyed using, and I know for a lot of you out there, the Eagle Bearer will be the exact same thing. Now, at the beginning of the video, I talked about the fact that I am not, well versed in Dark Zone builds, so I don't really want to put one together yet until I really get a feel for how they respond. And this takes me to another thing that I want to bring up. And if you have any creators that you really love their PvP builds, please feel free to leave a link to that video in the video description down below. However, there's one thing I want to make very clear, and this is for those of you that may be new to the channel, is that this is a toxic-free environment. Look, if there's a build up there that you don't like, and you may not like the creator, I don't care. Just don't say a thing. If you don't like something, don't watch it. All of this creator versus creator bullshit that I'm seeing online recently, in my opinion, it happens to be a waste of time, because I know here at the channel, I just want to bring you information and stuff that you can actually use in the game. And that's it, my friends. So once again, I appreciate your time. If you have an issue with someone else, leave it at the door. This is a place to help others out. And as always, if you have questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know. One thing I can say, and this is my own expectation getting ready for Season 11, is when I get into the Dark Zone, I'm probably going to get my ass kicked a lot, and that's fine. My job as a player is to get better, is to learn the builds, is to figure out when should I pulse someone, when should I not, what weapon should I use, Unbreakable on the chest. I mean, there are so many different options, and I'm really looking forward to taking my time and putting together a build that works for me, and my goal is just to farm, get the items, get out. I'm not really into the whole taking other people's stuff, but again, that's what PvP is for. So you can't really be surprised when it happens. It's like playing dodgeball and saying, I can't wait to play this game. I just don't want someone to throw the ball at me. Good luck with that. I mean, it's bound to happen, agent, so just be ready for it. And one final thing I'd actually like to bring up, and the reason I want to end on this note is we've all heard those horror stories of people going into the Dark Zone. They're met with nothing but, everyone's just going rogue and taking my stuff. And look, I know for myself and for a lot of you out there, your experience has been the total opposite. You go in on your own, you run into other agents that are running solo or in a duo, whatever it may be, and they're like, hey, you want to roll with us? And you do, and you wind up farming for hours. I mean, this gameplay footage is from yesterday, and I ran into like 3 or 4 single agents. The one that wanted me to say hi to my mom, I ran into that person. I ran into another one right here who was Shogun. I don't know if it's Shogun times 23, Shogun X23, whatever it is. And this again was just another agent who wanted to squat up and do some farming. And a huge shout out to you, Shogun. I'm sorry I did not join the group. I was heading out the door. I had to capture this footage yesterday and then get to work, all of that stuff. But my friends, you will encounter this as well, so please do not let the idea of the Dark Zone keep you out of there. Now, I was actually going to post this video this morning, but the game did put out a tweet saying that Season 11 has been delayed indefinitely, so we have no idea when it's going to launch. But in my opinion, that should give you even more time to get used to the Dark Zone, my friends. Check out each of them, make sure you get used to the surroundings, work on your builds. That way, whenever Season 11 drops, you will be good to go and hopefully feel more comfortable in the DZ. With all that being said, I'm going to start to wrap this up. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we are having a giveaway here. This one is for PlayStation 5. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced May 4th of this year. On that note, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support of this channel and remind you, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.